Welcome back to everyone who's watching Mama Rwagasawe TV. We're going to be with me, Princess Mugisha, and let's start with the news headline. President Paul Kagame met with Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba Group. On the international scene, the Hong Kong court convicts democracy activist Jim Lai on conspiracy charges. Father and son who killed 15 people at the Bond Beach, named as Prime Minister, pushes for the tough gun laws. Let's take a short break to be back into the news details. Let's start our news details in Rwanda, where President Paul Kagame on December 13, 2025, met with Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba Group, and Jared Yanga, co-founder of the Yahoo, to discuss the partnership, entrepreneurship, and innovation. Jack Ma and Jared Yang was in Kigali for African Business Silos, Alibaba's flagship initiative supporting African entrepreneurs and the job creation. The 7th edition of African Business Silos Summit opened Friday at the Kigali Convention Center, bringing together leading innovators, investors, and policymakers and development partners at 10 outstanding entrepreneurs compete for a share of $1.5 million in the grant funding. The two-day summit, hosted in Kigali for the third consecutive year under the theme of Defining Africa's Future Today, celebrates African entrepreneurship and showcases the homegrown solution transforming sectors from agriculture and biotech to fintech, health, and manufacturing. The program, founded by Alibaba Philanthropy and inspired by the Jack Ma's 2017 visit to Africa, has grown into one of the continent's most influential entrepreneurship competition. The 2025 ABG Grand Final follows the 7th ABG semi-finals, which held for the first time in Dakar, Senegal, 10th to 11th September 2025. Turning to our next story, First Lady Jeannette Kagame on Saturday, December 13th, hosted 220 children from across the country at the annual end of the year's Children's Party. The event was held each year to wish children's joyful festival season. The celebration featured games, the card-caking ceremony, and distribution of the gifts by the First Lady. Turning to our next story, Rwanda National Police has issued a warning to illegal dealers and technical of electrics who are believed to be involved in sales of the burglars and the alteration of the electronic devices. The warning follows the arrest of the 8 people in Nyamata, Bugesera district, and the city of Kigali who are linked to a theft of electronics. Police also recovered from the suspect 28 stolen mobile phones, 2 computers, and a tablet and a camera. The RNP spokesperson, Assistant Commissioner of Police Boniface Rutikanga, said 6 of the suspects were apprehended in Bugesera and 2 others in Kigali. This is said that was a result of the continuous intelligence-led operation and a strong collaboration with the public. He warned against violation legislation governing trade of use of electrical and electronic equipment. Legislation governing the trade of use of electrical and electronic equipment determined both buying use of electrical or electric equipment. The business operator must verify that the seller is the rightful owner of the equipment. The business operator must also record the identity of the seller, indicating the names, a copy of identity card, passport or business registration certificate, a place of residence, telephone number, and email address where applicable. The law determining offenses and the penalties in general states any person convicted of theft is liable to imprisonment of a term of 1 year or 2 years and fine of 1 to 2 million, community service in the period of 6 months or only one of these penalties. Let's take a short break to be back into the international news.
Bakiriya bacu beza, Smart Home yahoze ari Danube Home, tubifurije Noheli nziza n'umwaka mushya muhire wa 2026. Muri izi mpera z'umwaka tubafitiye promosiyo ya 25% discount plus free selected gift. Urugero, uragura intebe kuri discount ya 25% tukakongeza meza cyangwa kabati ka televiziyo cyangwa imisego yo mu ntebe. Uragura igitanda kuri discount ya 25% tukakongeza bed cover cyangwa imisego yo ku buriri cyangwa amashuka. Uragura kandi table à manger kuri discount ya 25% tukakongeza ibisorori cyangwa ibyombo. si ibyo gusa kandi kuko icyo wagura cyose muri izi mpera z'umwaka muri smart home urahabwa igabanyirizwa rya 25 ndetse ugatombora impano ishimishije. Nuguhera tariki ya 8 kugeza 31 Ukuboza 2025. Icyitonderwa, amategeko n'amabwiriza birakurikizwa. Dukorera KBC Kimihurura, waduhamagara cyangwa ukatwandikira kuri nimero ya telefone ikurikira 0788 90 50 90.
Let's take a look into the international news, where the High Court of the Hong Kong has convicted a pro-democracy activist and the newspaper founder, Jim Lai, on 3 charges related to accusation that he undermined China's national security as part of the widely criticized trial. Sandra Tumokund proceeds.
This is the international news in Africa. Election campaigning has officially begun in Central African Republic ahead of the presidential vote scheduled for December 28th. Incumbent President Faustin Archange Touadéra launched his campaign on Saturday, December 13, 2025 at Bangui Omnisport Stadium, where he addressed thousands of supporters returning from the town of Sibutu, where he had early kicked off his election bid. Touadéra was greeted by an enthusiastic Paul Kagame, a candidate for the National Assembly from the ruling United Hearts movement, hailed the scale of mobilization in favor of the president. Touadéra, who is seeking a second term, is presenting himself as a guarantor of stability for his supporters. His record on peace and the prospect of a return to lasting stability are key reason to renew the confidence in him over his rival. Even before the official start of the campaign, opposition president candidate Anicet Georges Dolugele unveiled a program built around 25 social pillars. His platform focuses on building a strong state and reviving the country's fragile economy. The opposition leader also announced Serge Bokassa's support, a former minister previously allied with Touadéra, in a move seen as symbolic defection from the ruling camp. At the same time, Touadéra launched a stinging attack on the authorities, accusing them of instrumentalizing questions of nationality and weakening democratic institutions. The campaign period, which will run for 2 weeks, is unfolding in a highly tense contest, according to the United Nations, with concern about security, political polarization, and the risk of violence. Despite the tension, all main candidates, including President Touadéra, have called for peaceful, ordered campaign and for citizens to express their choices at the ballot box rather than in the streets. Turning to our next story, 2 gunmen who killed 15 people at Bondi Beach in Sydney on Sunday have been named in local media as Sajil Akram, 50, and his son Navid, 24. Police earlier confirmed the gunmen were father and son. The older man died at the scene, while his son is in critical condition in hospital. The shooting started Jewish people attending a Hanukkah event. The victims include a 10-year-old girl, British-born Labi, a retired police officer, and the Holocaust survivor. The parents of bystander Ahmed Al-Ahmed, who was found wresting a gun off an attacker, say he was shot 4 or 5 times in the shoulder. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says he will push for tougher gun laws after the attack. The older attacker had a firearms license for recreation hunting. Verified footage of the incident shows how the shooting unfolded minute by minute. Now, concluding our international news, on Monday morning, a panel of 3 judges found the Lai 78 guilty of 2 counts of conspiring with foreign forces of threatening national security and 1 count of conspiracy to publish seditious material. Lai had pleaded not guilty to all the charges. He has been in detention since December 2020, when he was arrested in the midst of series of anti-government protests that gripped Hong Kong. The case has been seen as test of Hong Kong's one country, 2 system principle, which was established after the former British colony was returned to China in 19 1997. The principal affirmed that Hong Kong was part of China, but in theory, it allowed the territory to retain its own governance and administrative structure separate from Beijing. But activities say that activities autonomy has been threatened in recent years as China seeks to assert greater control over Hong Kong. This is the end of our international news. My name is Tumkunde Sola Sandra, and this is Mama Urwagasabo TV.
As we come to the end of the news, let's go back with the news heading. President Paul Kagame met with Jack Ma, co-founder of Alibaba Group, and international soon. The Hong Kong court convicts democracy activist Jim Lee on conspiracy charges. Father and son who killed 15 people are born to be named as the Prime Minister pushes for the tougher gun laws. Thanks for having me. Stay tuned.